Who are you? I mean, really. It's probably the oldest question there is, right? Well, the source material we're digging into today has a pretty wild answer. We're about to go on a journey to find what it calls our true self. And I've got to warn you, the path it lays out might just flip everything you think you know about who's really running the show. All right, let's get into it.
So let's kick things off with a big one. How much of your life do you actually control? I mean, think about it. The source says there are at least 18 things we have absolutely zero say in. Our height, our looks, where we were born, when we're going to die. You know, the major stuff. But what about the little things? Our hobbies, our habits, the words we say? Surely we control those, right? Well, maybe not.
To see what I mean, get this story about twin brothers. They were separated for 39 years, and when they finally met, the list of similarities was just bizarre. Both had studied law, both loved mechanical drawing, and they even vacationed at the exact same little spot in Florida. But here's where it gets really weird. Their ex-wives had the same first name, their sons had the same first name, and yep, you guessed it, their second wives also had the same first name. A coincidence?
And it doesn't stop there. Here's another one. A pair of separated twin sisters. They agree to meet for the very first time. One of them, totally on a whim, decides to get her hair done right before. When she shows up, her sister has the exact same hairstyle. And not only that, they're wearing identical jackets, skirts, and shoes, and even carrying identical purses. Both of them thought they were making their own unique choices, but they ended up looking like perfect mirror images.
So from stories just like these, the source draws a pretty staggering conclusion. It basically argues that everything we believe to be our personal preference, our habits, our hobbies, even the people we fall for, are not our own decisions at all. Instead, it claims they're all being directed by some kind of mysterious, invisible consciousness that has prearranged our lives, right down to the tiniest detail.
So, this brings us to the absolute core concept of this whole idea, that we're all split into two different selves. You've got the actor that we show to the world, and then you've got the hidden consciousness that's pulling all the strings from the inside.
Okay, so first up is the false self. This is the you that everybody gets to see. It's the you that's the professional at work, the good son or daughter, the loyal friend. The source calls this self a pretentious actor whose main job is just to play a part. It's always adjusting his performance, to meet social expectations, to make other people happy, and to just fit in.
But then, behind that mask, you've got the true self. This is that mysterious consciousness we were just talking about. And unlike the actor on the stage, the true self is totally, completely free. It couldn't care less about social rules, what people expect, or what anyone else thinks. It is the authentic, unfiltered will that's directing the whole show from behind the curtain. The source even uses the Buddhist term Tathagata to describe it, which kind of means one who has gone beyond the normal cycles of life.
So the difference is pretty stark, right? The false self acts and pretends, but the true self just is. The false self is a people pleaser. It's stuck following a social script. But the true self? It's totally independent, only following its own will. One is the face you show the world, the other is the hidden driver. And a lot of the time, they are in total conflict with each other.
Just how deep can that conflict get? Well, check out this example from the source. A woman's husband is killed in a war. When the news arrives, her false self plays the role of the grieving widow perfectly. She wails, she cries for everyone to see. But her true self, that hidden consciousness, it's secretly overjoyed, thinking, finally, I'm free. Why? Because it craves freedom more than anything, and the social role of wife had become a cage.
Okay, so this idea of playing a role, let's zoom out. Because it doesn't just apply to us as individuals, but to all of society. The source suggests that we are all just actors on this huge cosmic stage, and we're all unconsciously following a script that's already been written for us.
I mean, think about it. If someone asks who you are, what do you say? I'm a doctor, or I'm a parent. But according to this view, that's not who you are. That's the role you're playing. The source even uses the pretty provocative term biological robots, suggesting we're all just running these pre-programmed routines that serve some larger social plot.
And this plot isn't just for us humans. The source claims that all of existence is structured into these different life programs, which creates this sort of cosmic hierarchy. You've got the plant world, the animal world, our human world, and then even a celestial world. And each level is operating under a totally different script, with its own set of rules, roles, and this is the important part,
its own degree of freedom.
Now, for this whole cosmic play to actually work, the actors can't know they're acting. The source claims that the script itself requires that 99% of people have to stay in the dark about this truth. Because if everybody knew their life was a pre-written play, the whole social order would just fall apart. It's kind of like the story of Oedipus. He was living a pretty happy life until he found out the horrible truth of his role, and once he knew, the whole play ended in disaster.
So, if we're all trapped inside some kind of program, how in the world do we get out? Well, this brings us to the key metric for understanding our existence, the degree of freedom we have. This is how we actually measure how close we are to our true self.
According to the source, what defines the human program are its shackles. Things like having to work a job just to survive, maintaining family relationships out of obligation, following social customs you don't really believe in, and constantly trying to live up to what everyone else expects from you. Every single one of these is a constraint that limits our freedom and keeps that false self in charge.
You can almost visualize this as a spectrum of freedom. At one end, you have a being like a pig. According to this framework, it has very, very little freedom. Its life is almost entirely dictated by its programming. Then you have the average human, who has more freedom, but is still pretty heavily constrained by that social script. And then you have those who start to break free from these shackles. They have a much higher degree of freedom, and because of that, they are much closer to their true self. So here's the crucial point. It's a direct relationship. The amount of freedom you have literally determines your level of existence. The less freedom, the lower you are in that hierarchy of life programs. The more freedom you can get, the higher your level becomes, and the closer you get to actually living as your authentic true self.
Which of course leads us to the final ultimate question. How do we get maximum freedom? How do we break the program once and for all and finally find that true self? Well, the source suggests a path of complete and total transcendence. The text actually points to Jesus as an example. Remember when people told him his family was outside looking for him? He completely rejected those pre-assigned social roles of son and brother. He basically redefined his family based on a higher, freer principle. According to the source, this is what it looks like when someone lives out their true self, refusing to be trapped by the script of the human program. And here's the radical part. The goal isn't to just become a better actor playing the role of a human. The goal is to stop being an actor altogether. To find your true self, you have to completely break free from the human program and all of its roles, its rules, and its expectations.
The final destination, the end goal on this path, is to become what the source calls a super celestial being. And this isn't just an actor who gets to improvise a few lines here and there. No, this is a being who has transcended the stage completely. They are no longer following a script because they have become their own designer, director, and screenwriter. This is the state of maximum, ultimate freedom.
So the ultimate conclusion presented in this material is that a human can't find their true self while remaining a human, just like a pig can't find its true self as a pig. The only way, it argues, is to transcend our current program, to reach the highest level of existence, what it calls heaven, and become a being of absolute freedom.
It's a really profound and honestly challenging way to look at identity, freedom, and purpose. And it leaves us with one critical question to think about, one that really cuts right to the heart of our own lives. If your life really is a script, written by some hidden consciousness, are you satisfied with the part you're playing?